55 years, one cartoon, and secrets behind the scenes darker than any haunted house they ever solved. One voice actress walked away from fame voluntarily. One was replaced mid-battle with cancer with zero explanation. And the man you laughed at as Shaggy? He's now horror's most chilling villain. The gang always unmasked the villain, but nobody ever unmasked their own story. Number 1. Frank Welker as Fred Jones. Frank Welker was only 24 when he first said, "Let's split up, gang," in 1969. Now at 81, that fresh-faced newcomer is the silver-haired titan who doesn't just voice Fred anymore, he is the entire franchise. Fred Jones was Mystery Incorporated's self-appointed leader, the plan maker, the trap setter, the guy who somehow always thought splitting up was a good idea. Frank has kept his personal life remarkably private, with limited public information available. Career-wise, Welker never left. When Don Messick retired in 1996, Frank stepped in to voice Scooby-Doo as well, carrying both characters simultaneously ever since. He is now confirmed to reprise Scooby-Doo in Scooby-Doo Origins, the upcoming 2027 Netflix series that marks the franchise's next major chapter, a prequel exploring how the gang first came together. Fans still marvel at how one man became the entire soul of a franchise, carrying it across more than 5 decades without missing a single step. Number 2. Kasem as Shaggy Rogers. Kasem was 37 and already a radio legend when he first voiced Shaggy in 1969. By the time he passed away in 2014, he had spent over 4 decades making that perpetually hungry, perpetually terrified slacker one of the most recognizable voices in American culture. Shaggy Rogers was the franchise's lovable coward, always running, always hungry, and always somehow stumbling into saving the day. On the personal side, Casey married actress Jean Thompson in 1980, and the couple had 3 children together, though his final years were shadowed by a painful and very public family dispute over his medical care. A strict vegan in real life, Kasem famously insisted Shaggy be written as a vegetarian in later series, a rare case of a voice actor rewriting a character's identity from the inside out. Before passing, Casey handpicked Matthew Lillard to carry Shaggy's voice in all animated media starting in 2010, a torch passing that fans received with enormous warmth. Fans still debate whether anyone can truly replace Kasem, but his choice of Lillard says everything about the legacy he wanted to protect. Number 3. Nicole Jaffe as Velma Dinkley. Nicole Jaffe was 22 and virtually unknown when she invented Velma's voice in 1969. Now, at 79, she is one of the most deliberately invisible figures in animation history. Velma Dinkley was the brain of Mystery Incorporated, the one who always found the clue, always spotted the pattern, and gave the world its first Jinkies. Then in 1973, Nicole Jaffe did something almost no one in Hollywood does. She walked away voluntarily, not for a bigger role, not for a rival studio. She became a high-powered Hollywood talent agent, trading the recording booth for the boardroom and never looking back. The voice that defined television's most famous intellectual simply vanished and built an entirely different kind of empire in the silence. Fans still credit Nicole Jaffe with constructing Velma's analytical identity from the ground up, a foundation every actress who followed has built their performance upon. Number 4. Sarah Michelle Gellar as Daphne Blake. Sarah Michelle Gellar was 24 and fresh off Buffy the Vampire Slayer when she stepped into Daphne's iconic purple dress for the 2002 live-action film Today at 49. She remains one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces. Daphne Blake was Mystery Incorporated's glamorous heart, the one the villains always tried to kidnap, and the one who never stopped showing up anyway. Sarah married her Scooby-Doo co-star Freddie Prinze Jr. in 2002, and the couple has 2 children together, one of Hollywood's genuinely rare, long-lasting love stories. Fans still regard her Daphne as the definitive live-action version, the performance that proved this franchise could work outside of animation. Number 5. Matthew Lillard as Shaggy Rogers. Matthew Lillard was 31 when he played Shaggy in the 2002 live-action film, and if you only know him from that, what happened next will genuinely stop you in your tracks. Before Scooby-Doo, Lillard had already carved his name into horror history as Stu Macher in Wes Craven's Scream, one of the genre's most chilling performances. Then in 2023, he gained renewed recognition playing William Afton, the franchise's serial killer villain in Five Nights at Freddy's, with The Hollywood Reporter declaring he had entered his Renaissance era. Away from acting, he co-founded Beadle & Grimm's, a luxury tabletop gaming company producing high-end editions for Dungeons & Dragons and Magic, The Gathering, and separately launched Find Familiar Spirits, a fandom-focused whiskey brand. The man who made a generation laugh as a cartoon coward is now running a multi-company empire and starring in a horror franchise with a 3-picture studio deal. And yet Kasem watched all of it, trusted all of it, and in 2010 personally selected Lillard to carry Shaggy's voice in animation forever. Fans still regard that casting decision as one of the most perfectly matched choices in franchise history, and Lillard clearly wears it as a badge of honor. Number 6. Mindy Cohn as Velma Dinkley. Mindy Cohn was 36 when she took over Velma's voice for What's New, Scooby-Doo. In 2002, today at 60, her story is the franchise's most unresolved mystery. And unlike every villain the gang ever unmasked, this one has never been officially cracked. Under Mindy's voice, Velma became sharper, warmer, and more distinctly modern, earning a Daytime Emmy nomination in 2003 and the fierce loyalty of an entire generation of viewers. For 13 years, she was Velma, full stop. Then, in 2015, the clues stopped adding up. Some sources report that Mindy was quietly replaced while privately battling breast cancer, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the fan community. The studio behind Be Cool, Scooby-Doo has never directly addressed it. Other accounts suggest the decision was purely creative, that her voice simply no longer matched the new series' direction. There was no public farewell, no acknowledgement, no explanation. While the gang spent decades unmasking every villain they encountered, the industry left Mindy's exit under a shroud of mystery that persists even in 2026, and the silence from the studio has been deafening. The case remains open, and it raises a question this franchise has never answered. If the studio did replace Mindy Cohn during a health crisis, does that change how you view the entire modern Scooby-Doo era? Is a creative reboot ever worth discarding a 13-year veteran at her most vulnerable? Drop your verdict in the comments. This one deserves a real answer. Number 7. Don Messick as Scooby-Doo. Don Messick was 43 when he gave the world's most famous Great Dane his voice, his warmth, and his soul in 1969, but tragically died at 71 inches, October 1997, never getting to see the massive resurgence he spent 3 decades building. Every gravelly chuckle, every nervous whimper, every Scooby-Dooby-Doo that echoed through living rooms across America, that was Don Messick. He invented Scooby's rhoticized speech, that beloved habit of rolling an R into the front of every word, turning ordinary sentences into something impossibly warm and distinctly alive. The sound of that voice is Saturday morning childhood for millions of people. In 1996, a stroke forced Don into retirement. He stepped away quietly, without ceremony. He passed away just 1 year later. He never saw the 2002 live-action film sell out cinemas worldwide. He never heard the audiences who grew up on his voice return to theaters with their own children. He never knew his character would still be generating new series, new reboots, and new generations of fans nearly 3 decades after he left the recording booth for the last time. His passing shocked the Scooby-Doo world, but what lingers is something more bittersweet than grief. It's the quiet weight of everything he built and never got to witness bloom. Don Messick's legacy lives on. Scooby-Doo remains the most enduring animated animal character in television history, and Frank Welker, the man who inherited that legacy, has never stopped acknowledging the impossible standard Don set. A standard that was never surpassed, only honored. That's the real story. 57 years of mysteries nobody thought to investigate. One man carried an entire franchise on his shoulders. One woman vanished by choice. One exit still has no official answer. The gang unmasked every villain they ever chased, but their own story? That one stayed hidden. If Mindy's exit changes how you see this franchise, drop your verdict below. This case deserves a real answer. And if you want another story the industry buried, the Rugrats cast video is right here. Trust me, you're not ready.